Let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. Fly me to the moon. Let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. Fly me to the moon. Let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. Fly me to the moon. Let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. Fly me to the moon. Let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. Fly me to the moon. Let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. Fly me to the moon. Let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. Fly me to the moon. Let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. Fly me to...
What is going on, Juju Gang? I hope everyone's having a wonderful, wonderful Sunday. It is, again, Tesla Power Hour time. Let me know if my audio is coming in clear. I'm feeling a little bit cold today. It's winter again, it feels like, back here in Canada. So I'm kidding. It's like the second day of fall. But as you guys know, I'm jujued up today. Got the merch on. A lot of it has to do with the fact that it's cold and my hair looked bad. But I see everyone in the chat here. Oh, wow. Okay, great. Awesome. Let me know where you guys are tuning in from, city, state, country. I'll read out some names here. Chadwick, Stefan, Lester, Andre, Richard, Messi, Evan, Joseph, DRK, Crater. Is Elon watching? I don't know. You can ask Elon. Beach Crow, Hillary, how's it going? Awesome. Hey, Mimi's in the chat too. Oh, wow. Okay. Everything's a little bit a second behind, but I see everything popping through. Folks, we got a lot to talk about today. This morning I woke up and there's like there's like 3 more headlines that I added into this video. Couldn't even add it into the title, to be honest. Happy Sunday. Welcome to the Juju stream. Thank you, Mimi. Cypress Hill, how's it going? Greetings from Germany. Love it. Timothy. Let's go, Juju Gang. There we go. Worst song ever. Hey, what are you guys' thoughts on that song? Yay or nay? You guys can be honest. That intro song, that is. Classy Dan, how's it going? From Okotoks, my favorite city in Alberta. Carl says it's going to be a banger. Morning, Yash. Carl, how's it going? Now, look, it will be a banger. I got a lot lined up. Some videos, I got Jim Cramer lined up for today. I've actually got Stephen Mark Ryan lined up for today. And this is because a couple people have been sending me just this Tesla bot reaction. And I think I want to react to his reaction. A little bit meta there. Happy Sunday. How's it going, Digital? James from Florida. Compton, California. Sith Lord, how's it going? Minnesota. Matthew says cold and rainy. Yep. Welcome to the club. Martin says hello from Ireland. Martin, how's it going? I'll be on your side of the pond soon. Denmark, how's it going? Arrow, Mississauga, Ontario. Hey, fellow Canadian. Atlanta, London, UK. Juju, Sweden. Manila, Philippines. Very nice. Joseph. North Carolina, Minnesota. Harbinger, Steve, Cape Cod. Ben from Sweden. Hit that like. Appreciate it. Yeah, if you want to support the channel, couple ways to do so. Easiest one being hit like, hit subscribe if you're not subscribed already. If you're watching a replay, do the same as well. And if you want to join us on our Discord, which is our I would say it's the best Discord in Tesla land. $5 a month, so help support the channel. Also gets you access into our Discord, which I cannot say enough good things about. Not because I'm in there. I'll tell you that right now. Cypress Hill, Tesla bot video came out of nowhere. Yes, it actually did. Chili Boston. Yoga, yes, we'll talk about that here in a second. Boise, Idaho, how's it going, Real Futurist? On my way to the Silicon Valley, very nice. Alberta, Tinu, let's see here. Intro song is weird. I'm gonna keep it. From Nunavut, Mark, My man, how's it going? Howdy from Spee, Texas, New Jersey, Yorkshire. I'm going to blast through these. Netherlands, Martin. There we go. Juju Kang from, hey, Sean's in the house. Love it. Uruguay here. Hey, I think it's our first Uruguay. Welcome, Christian. Okay, let's get into action, shall we? First things first, I just wanted to go through Tesla stock reaction to the week. And actually, you know what I think will be better is if I just share the Google Finance. So as you guys know, in the last 5 days, Tesla stock, and I put it settling, right? And you'll understand my reasoning here in a second. But I actually got to move my fat head up a little bit. So Tesla stock is down 8.8% in the last 5 days. Meanwhile, Apple is down in that same time period only 1%. The Qs are down 3%, S&P 500 down the same, and Rivian down almost 15%, right? The reason why I said settling is because if you zoom out to a month, you'll see that Tesla is one of the few companies that is actually positive in the trailing 30. And of course, a large portion has to do with that rally that we had at the end of August, beginning of September. Now, that's why I said settling around that 250-ish level. Now, for what it's worth, you guys know I look at TradingView a lot, right? And I have that indicator. Hold on, head to homepage. TradingView. Can I pull up this chart? Hold on, I gotta sign in here. Hold on 1 second, folks. As you guys know, I use this indicator quite a bit. This what was that? Sort of heard a really weird beep come through there. Okay, interesting. Now, what's interesting as well than the beep is this indicator here. And this is, for everyone that is wondering, this is the, what is it actually called? It's the super trend indicator. Sorry, Sunday morning. Super trend indicator, as you guys can see, it's still on a buy signal, albeit it's very close to turning back. I think around this day, I had tweeted out saying something to the effect of, well, if Tesla's going to turn bullish, today seems like a good level break. And of course, since then, we went from 240 all the way up to 270. As it stands right now, we're back, and this is the daily, by the way. We're back at this, if you want to call it support, you can call it support, but it is a level that I don't want to see us close under. Let's just call it 240, closing under 240. But for what it's worth, on the weekly, we're still on the uptrend. And again, I don't use this as as kind of hard science. It is a soft science. It's generally speaking the market trend, and it's been pretty descriptive of Tesla stock price action that's been happening. So on the weekly, I mean, we're far from breaking the weekly uptrend, which is at 210, 215. So keep that in mind. That's why I say over the last little bit, Tesla has actually settled up. If I do the last 6 months, you can see that Tesla is up 28.6% versus the Nasdaq's 15%. Actually makes quite a lot of sense if you think about it with a beta of 2. Richard, how's it going? Smoke detector changing the battery. You think it was? I actually don't. I actually think I just replaced that last year. Maybe it was since I logged into Traditex or TradingView, it was some sort of a security thing. That is weird. I'm gonna have to look into that. Ford and GM are green every day since the strike. Actually, that's a good comment. Let me check this out. Let's do GM. What's GM sitting at? General Motors in the last 5 days. It is down. It is down, albeit hey, I mean, it's down half as much as Tesla is, for what it's worth. Ford in the last week is down. Where is it? Ford is down. Actually, Ford is pretty much flat in the last week, despite everything that's going on. It is actually quite crazy. I actually tweeted this out too. I said, hold on, where is it? Let's see here. Coming up. I said, yeah, so I quote tweeted Harish, who actually tweeted this at me. I said, so there's a Tesla strike going on, right? Because it was, I think like Monday or Tuesday morning or whatever it was, and Tesla was down 1%. Meanwhile, Ford, GM, and Stellantis were all up over 1%. So it was actually quite amusing to me. I mean, it's just classic, right? It is very classic. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate that comment. Thank you. And if you're watching a replay, you can always hit like and subscribe as well. We're going to talk about the Fed as well, Alexis. For anyone that cares, I have an entire section dedicated to the recession and the Fed. So that is coming up. How's it going, Michael? From Austria? Very nice. Why is no one talking about Tesla bot? Hey, what a great transition for us to get into Tesla bot. Okay, so if you guys don't know, Tesla Optimus, the verified organizational account for Tesla bot, tweeted this out last night. Out of nowhere, Optimus can now sort objects autonomously. Its neural network is trained for fully end-to-end video in, controls out. Pause. I just had like a complete mind exploding moment last night when this was tweeted, and I saw this because if you watch the video, and I'll play here in a second, I want you to, when you watch this video, forget about the video for a second while you're watching and think about the progress that we've seen from the first time the Tesla bot was unveiled, not a long time ago, to where you're going to see it here. Okay, so let's play this and let's see. Let me make it a little bit bigger. Using only vision and joint position encoders that can precisely locate its limbs. Accurately calibrated, Optimus learns various tasks more efficiently. Look, it's sorting out by color. Quite basic for a human to do, but the neural net runs entirely on board. For example, it can sort these blocks by color fully autonomously. Music down, might get copyrighted, and it does so while dealing with the dynamic reality of our world. So this guy's messing with it. This is unreal. Optimus also demonstrates autonomous corrective action capabilities. So look, it flipped it over. Look at that. I think the dexterity is what's most impressive. It can also be trained to conduct new tasks such as unsorting. Obviously, you have the neural nets here, and it's doing some yoga. It's doing some Bikram. It's doing some Bikram stretches right now. Oh, digital, and I'm definitely getting copyrighted for that then, hey? The song is from Ex Machina. Yeah, okay, yeah, good luck with that, Yash. I'm gonna have to clip the music out for that. Folks, that is unreal. Unreal. Look, I think the progress is, of course, so impressive, but the dexterity that we're seeing with the hand movements and the little fingers tilting this back over, where was it? Right around, where is it? Right around there when it's tilting it back over. Of course, as a human, you're looking at that, you're like, what are you, 2 years old? But again, this is insane because all of this is being run on neural nets. I swear, every time I think of neural nets now, I just get extra giddy. I don't know what it is. ChatGPT has trained me with the release of ChatGPT and how berserk it went. And of course, Tesla AI, neural nets. I just, when I'm thinking about neural nets in this thing, I'm getting super excited thinking about this. Well, I mean, Boston Dynamic, right? For everything, I mean, obviously we've seen their dancing and I think it's super cool. But again, I think the big difference here is that this is running on essentially AI, right? It's running on end-to-end neural nets. So meaning if you tasked, let's say everyone likes to go to McDonald's workers as one of the bot substitutes, right? And for better or for worse, let's just use that example. Let's just actually hold on one second. Gotta make sure the chat's up. Okay. If all you did was, if you're McDonald's and you're training this bot, what would you do? All I would do is equip a GoPro or some sort of vision system on all my workers for 3 to 6 months, right? Equip them with a little GoPro camera or whatever camera qualifies for calibration that Tesla would need here. Have them put it on their hat pretty discreetly or whatever. Have it collect data for the next 3 months. Use that data in neural nets. It's I don't want to say it's simple, but it is quite simple. It's not easy. I mean, if you're a factory line worker, to do your job, there's a lot of intricacies, one-off scenarios. Just the more data you collect, the better the bot will get. And there's a big debate right now happening in the space where people are thinking, Yash, this is just going to take away jobs. This bot is just going to take away jobs. It's bad. It's disgusting that we support stuff like this. Folks, the bot is no different than having a refrigerator in your home rather than having an ice box, okay? And having to buy ice every day. It's no different than me using this computer rather than a mobile phone. You know, it's progress. I mean, progress can suck in the short term, and we could talk about this at a general perspective. But this bot is unreal, and so a lot of people have been sending me this video. Stephen Mark Ryan. Let's take a listen. I want to react to his reaction because apparently it's hilarious.
Emergent ability that has emerged, again, keyword emerged, from being trained on nothing but video.
Let me know if the audio is fine there.
This is a stunning moment. And pay close attention to the gentle, soft touch of the hand, the dexterity. This is one of the most difficult challenges, I believe. Obviously, vision's number one, but Tesla's already well on the way to solving that. But to be able to manipulate objects, human hands are absolutely stunning pieces of evolution. I mean, God did it. I'm going to burn in hell for saying evolution, aren't I? Huh. So as we know, God created perfect human hands on the, what day was it? The 69th day, something like that. It's very difficult, this challenge, because a hand needs to be able to gently manipulate, sense pressure, not squeeze too hard, too soft, and so on. And we'll talk more about this in a moment. In fact, let's rewind a little bit and just focus on the soft touch of the Optimist hand.
Okay, we've watched this.
Robot.
Let's skip forward.
No. Unlike, say, for example, what we see with Boston Dynamics, where you might see some robots dancing in sync to a song, who knows how many takes it took, every instruction, every movement is programmed into those robots. However, the Tesla humanoid robot is completely different. It can learn tasks, not based on being pre-programmed, with every millimeter down to precise.
We've talked about
just
this.
Tesla factory. Doing a few basic tasks, 24 hours a day, no need for breaks, boring, repetitive, dangerous, unsafe, etc. Of course, would this be an awkward time to mention the UAW currently encouraging its members to strike at GM, Ford, etc., asking for absurd, financially catastrophic pay increases the companies simply won't be.
I mean, of course, that's very topical right now with the UAW strike that's still going on, and insanely so. I just had a thought though for a second, and it's to the effect of, well, robotaxis are actually, if you think about it, maybe I'm going to eat my words on this, but robotaxis have a much higher consequence rate with their technology, don't they? I mean, people have to drive around in their cars with other boxes of metal trying to clang at you and trying to get through. I mean, the consequences are high. But for a bot, if anything, it should be easier for this bot to go live. I mean, of course, building the hardware is one thing, but I think we all believe in Tesla's ability to get out hardware. But if you think about the software aspect of it, I mean, the Tesla bot should be easier than the robotaxi, right? Because you can have specific narrow use cases that you can train it on. And of course, the first ones being Tesla's in-house. I mean, Tesla's going to cannibalize the bot for themselves for the first little bit. But is my thinking wrong there? Let me know in the chat. Is robotaxis not harder than publishing out a bot? I mean, like, come on. Exactly, Alexis.
Yeah. Be able to afford. And as a result, those employees will be fired and or replaced with robots. A lot of people who don't really understand how what Tesla's doing differs from companies like Boston Dynamics might see this demo and go, oh, bro, Boston Dynamics have been doing that for years. But again, the thing I want to stress here, this is happening via a completely different mechanism. The same processes that human beings use to learn how to interact with and move throughout the world. This bad boy or girl, or hey, who knows, it's 2023, probably identifies as a fucking horse. The progress since Optimus Bot was first unveiled is stunning. It's gone from clunky as fuck, early prototype, to incredible balance. Look at this. Half the people watching couldn't do this without falling flat on their face.
All right. How much would someone have to pay you to do this live on camera right now on stream? Should I do it? You think I could do that? I'm just saying, I'm not going to have to prove myself because I'm feeling very confident about it. I can easily do something like that. I just want to say, when Tesla hits all-time highs again, I will do this yoga pose. I promise, on stream.
Try it. Dare ya. Pause the video. Pull this pose off now. And obviously, if you do a bit of yoga, different story. But everyone else is going to have a hard time with this. This really is a holy fucking shit moment for two massive reasons. What we've just seen was a humanoid robot, an intelligent humanoid robot. It's probably surpassed an average alt seller already. Still a long way to go though. Trained purely on end-to-end video, capable of learning tasks, just like a human. As I mentioned, end-to-end is the ultimate path to superhuman capabilities for both FSD/autonomy and the humanoid robot. Prior to then, there's still a lot of unknown unknowns. Now the path is clearly lit. Don't get me wrong, it'll still take data and time and plenty of training compute. But the degree of uncertainty as to whether or not this can be accomplished now seems it's just a matter of time. So
I wouldn't go out there and just say it because, of course, we don't know what the end goal is. But of course, I can see this easily being on the I mean, there's so many jobs in manufacturing plants. But you know what? My pessimistic side is coming out a little bit. I'm just thinking, like, if you look at countries like China, and we don't have to get into this whole debate, but if you look at countries like China, the reason why they're able to manufacture so cheap is because cost of labor is so cheap. And the cost of labor is so cheap because, let's face it, they don't have upstanding standards for a lot of their manufacturing. Let's just be honest. I mean, if a worker's there, it's not like they're getting five-star class treatment, right? On top of that, anyways, all I'm trying to say is the cost of their capital is actually quite a lot lower than here in the West. So I think the bot hits the top of the funnel first, the most expensive labor out there, that is the most menial, and then hits that sort of capital probably towards the end.
So key takeaway number 1, no heuristics. Holy shit. And number 2, in fact, allow me to refer to a post I made on X when it was still called Twitter, responding to an early iteration of the Optimus hands. Superhuman hand job ability is the benchmark. I am not joking about this. It is the ultimate execution combining everything that matters in a useful hand. And I really am not joking. Back to the demo. Does anybody notice anything that might indicate that Optimus is on the verge of being able to deliver a superhuman hand job? Not that that's the only thing that matters, nor the primary intent of this bot, but there is no better benchmark for the ability to manipulate objects, right? I mean, if I'm wrong, please, what is a better benchmark than that? Seriously. And a side note, isn't it going to be ironic? A lot of Tesla short sellers will ultimately end up with their own Optimus bot for, well, I'm sure you can fill in the blanks. I'm absolutely stunned at how delicate and dexterous the Optimus hand is already. Now, there's still plenty of room to go, but there's a lack of clunkiness here. This really matters. As I mentioned, the big challenge, other than vision, which Tesla's already mostly solved, was the hand. Tesla now has the 2 necessary pieces of the puzzle to make this thing useful at scale. Oh, but remember, Tesla is just a car company and the bot's obviously just a stock pump that they don't actually intend on producing. So before we get to the numbers, let's just take a quick moment here because I really want this point to sink in. This is insanely bullish. The 2 ingredients necessary for massively expanding the global labor market with useful humanoid robots. 1, vision, as in perception, planning, and action. This is almost solved thanks to Tesla first developing this in their vehicles and now being able to transplant it into the humanoid robot. The shift to end-to-end video training is a massive milestone and completely blows it open. It's now just a matter of more data, more training, and more time. No more roadblocks. No more local maximums, at least not that I'm aware of. And number 2, superhuman hand job capability. This clearly is approaching fast. The demo shows incredible dexterity, soft touch, and the ability to manipulate objects. With more training, it's only a matter of time. And the rate of progress on Optimus Bot is insane.
You know, I have a hard time, putting that aside, I have a hard time really modeling out this bot because there's a million different ways I can go. And Matt Smith from Rebellionaire did a really good video with Bradford on this, and he maps out Tesla bot and projections. But I have to say, the projections that Matt Smith, and you guys know Matt, right? Matt, I would say, is generally fairly conservative. He doesn't go out there and blast out these hugely controversial bullish predictions. But he, if you look at his Tesla bot video, and I encourage everyone to go watch it after watching this live stream. We're talking millions of these Tesla bots is what he's projecting on the low end in the very short future. And of course, I guess it makes sense. I mean, if you look at this bot, it's not like a car, right? I mean, it's really not. So if Tesla's building millions of those, I mean, I think Tesla would, and maybe a lot of the parts here on this bot are spare or excess or scrap from building their cars. I mean, very well possible. The only other opposing thought I had from this was, who's to say that the humanoid aspect is the aspect that we should optimize for? Like in the same way that when you look at cars, like you look at the Cybertruck, it very much doesn't look like any other pickup truck. It's kind of revolutionized the space in terms of the design. Like, why are we still optimizing for the human look and the humanoid aspect? Like, of course, I'm just trying to, make a counter argument here. Like, is there a better form factor out there? Of course, the opposable thumb is huge, and that could stay. But I don't know, like that head. Does that head really need to be there? Like, let's be honest. What is this skull doing? Like, it's just dead weight. I mean, why is it here? It serves no purpose. So I'm just trying to think of first principles here a little bit and go, why does it have to? Anyways, that's my entire point. 4 arms, yeah, maybe, exactly, right? Brand says, is it realistic that we might be able to buy one or just businesses? I think in the next 5 or 10 years, good luck getting your hand on one of these. I think either Tesla will eat all of them, and or Tesla will partner with like kind of PepsiCo style. Like it's kind of like the Tesla Semi is kind of the way I look at this in the near term, especially the next 5 years, because you talk about marginal demand. The marginal demand for this will not be for personal usage. I mean, having a personal chef in the house or someone to clean the house, you talk about value to society in the grand scheme of things, very, very low. I see that aspect coming of it in the further out future. I see the like mining jobs, dangerous jobs that people have high health risks for. That sort of stuff is where we want to send the bot to first. But it's very exciting times, I have to say. It's very exciting. Perfect for dog walking, yeah. Vitek says, because the world is built for humans today. And I think the head is for it to be relatable to humans. Now, how important is it, though, for us to optimize for relatability of the bot? These are just questions I have. How many bots? Nice one, right? Okay. So that's the bot. I encourage everyone to go watch this video after. It is absolutely nutty. And I'm getting super excited thinking about the bot. Now, folks, a lot of people have been asking why Tesla has been going down, okay? And it's hard to say, but it's really not. We have this video out from Jim Cramer, and he talks about Tesla, and I have some unfortunate news to pass, and that is that he talks about Tesla quite positively, quite bullishly. It's titled, Cramer's Stop Trading Tesla.
Time for Jim and Stop Trading.
Sometimes Carl, our colleague David Faber, would say, what's the key to this market? And today, if we're going to have a turn, there's a negative piece by Barclays about Tesla, talking about a slowdown drive to potential missing quarters. If Tesla is able to turn, then I believe we could have a substantial rally, because this is
this explains everything. Jim Cramer just said, hold on, I think I actually have a Jim Cramer drop. Hold on.
And right now, right here on this show, I am pronouncing the Depression over.
Now that was famously said right before the .com crash, right? Just kidding. Anyway, Jim Cramer just said Tesla is. Hold on, let me go back.
Talking about a slowdown drive to potential missing quarters. If Tesla is able to turn, then I believe we could have a substantial rally, because this is a very negative piece.
Do you buy the Times piece that this UAW regional director says workers at Tesla are starting to think about organizing, or is that just self-serving union commentary?
Oh, my God.
I was talking to Dave about organizing. I didn't even talk about organizing. There are no...
He just got off talking to David about organizing.
Tesla doesn't... What are the machines organizing? They talking to each other? Like the ones at NVIDIA?
They do have employees. They'll hire a lot more for the Cybertruck as that gets rolling.
That's a right-to-work state.
Yeah, it seems unlikely.
But
unlikely that there would be.
Yeah, I agree with you. But I just want, this is a true negative piece about numbers, and if Tesla can rally on that, then that says, you know what, we're done dumping on every single stock in this market except for the refiners. So, one group.
Tesla down 8% since this.
It's a good leadership. Valero,
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Bolero and Valero. And Bolero's not doing that well, just so you know.
Okay. How are you going to close out the week tonight?
Okay, so I'm having Federal Realty on because I want to find out about the state of REITs, which was just...
Forget about these guys. Okay, it's interesting that whenever Jim Cramer talks about Tesla, it's actually the antithesis of what the market sentiment is. Really, I mean, if you think about this, Morgan Stanley, who remembers this, last month, well, not even last month, like literally 2 weeks ago, Morgan Stanley's huge upgrade from Adam Jonas on Tesla stock. What does Jim Cramer say? Poo-poo's on the whole thing, says this is weird, who cares? Obviously, Tesla stock rallies. Now, all of a sudden, there is all the UAW strike and this news, and all of a sudden now he wants to get bullish on it. What happens? Tesla stock falls. It's actually quite hilarious. And I'm pretty sure someone also made an ETF called the anti-Jim Cramer ETF. So I don't know where this stands, but it is funny to hear from Jim. And hey, if Jim ever wants to come on the channel, he's always open. Open invite for him. Check this out. Okay, AOC owns a Tesla. If you didn't know this already, check this out. Just in from Colin Rugg on X. AOC says a part of the reason that she has a Tesla is not different, and not in a different electric car, is because of a vaccine that has not come out yet when she purchased the Tesla. So, not getting into any derogatory stuff, but let's just watch the actual video of this.
You were quoted back in July saying you look forward to buying a union-made electric vehicle, but you currently have a non-union-made Tesla. UAW already makes some.
First, pause. Why does she have to have a union-made car? What is it about her personal choices that have to reflect the fact that she's pro-union, let's say? This is me defending her even for a second. Why does she have to own? It doesn't make any sense, this type of virtue signaling to me. You can own what you want. It's your life. You don't have to be judged for that. I'm wearing orange on my head. Like, seriously.
Electric vehicles.
Yes.
So why
That's
wasn't that? Is it a problem with the quality? Is it a problem with the style? Is the market just not there?
No, our car was purchased during the pandemic when before a vaccine had come out. So travel between New York and Washington, the safest way that we had determined was an EV, but that was prior to some of the new models coming out on the market that had the range available. But we're actually looking into trading in our car now. So we're.
Oh my God. So she's essentially getting bamboozled into switching out her Tesla, which is the safest car in the world, the best bang for your buck that you can buy in the market, for a Chevy Bolt, for, I don't know, a Nissan Leaf, whatever it might be. It's insane to me that you can get bullied like this. Look, would I get bullied if I sold our Tesla and I bought a Nissan Leaf? Probably. But I'd also say, who cares? It is what it is, right? Who cares? But I'm telling you, it is actually unreal to me that the state of the union currently, no pun intended, the state of the union currently is that unless you own, wear, purchase these types of brands, we don't like you. It's actually unreal to me.
We're looking into it, and hopefully we will soon.
You were quoted back in July.
This is what I would have said if I'm her. Yeah, we bought a Tesla because back when we bought a Tesla, it was the best car on the market. Actually, it still is. But I see that you're trying to pressure me into buying a union-made car, even though I'm pro-union. This is me talking as if I'm her. Even though I'm pro-union, but you know what? That makes me not want to buy a union car. That's what I would say, simply. I don't know. It's just insane to me. It's quite funny though that she had to say that the vaccine wasn't out yet. This is before the mask mandates. Like, she had to preface and defend herself for that. I think it's funny. Of course she's smart, for sure. For sure. I'm not saying that she's not smart. Alrighty. AOC owns Tesla. So I got a really, really entertaining video here. So Tesla historian, at Tesla historian on X, the shorts historian, posted this epic video of our famous He Who Shall Not Be Named. If you know, you know. Video from September of 2020, folks. And take a listen of this compilation put together.
You think there's a day of reckoning coming?
Right, but Joe, you got to be careful with just looking at stock price, right? If you look at their guidance, previously they said they were going to do over 500,000 cars. Last night, if you look at the midpoint, it was 495. So they actually cut their guidance last night.
So, okay, so context. So, you remember in 2020 when Tesla delivered 500 cars short of 500,000. And that's what he's hitting on right now. Anyways, Tesla Source Historian puts together, obviously, the COVID stats and how much production dropped and how many factories were down, that sort of stuff.
listen, Tesla's revenues, as you know, peaked essentially in the fourth quarter of 18.
Factually incorrect. Factually incorrect.
So when you look at his, missed promises, and you look at the fact they're not investing, I think you have to be very skeptical with respect to his projections. And I think next year they go back into losses as that credit revenue falls.
Oh, here's the credit revenue. Here's the profit. Do you see a trend here?
And while people compare Tesla to Amazon, it's not Amazon. Tesla's more like AOL or BlackBerry. There's 46 new EVs hitting the market next year.
Competition is coming. We're still waiting for them.
Which are coming from VW. And if you look at what VW said with respect to 300 gigawatt hours per year of battery capacity, that works out to about 4 million EVs they're planning to push out over the next 2 to 3 years.
Volkswagen Group up 7%.
So I think that what Musk did last night essentially was push out the production of his batteries. And I think the issue is all the big boys, Ford, GM, VW,
the big boys, Ford, GM, VW,
essentially brought out battery capacity. There is no capacity left. And we think that given what he said last night, we think their deliveries are actually going to be down in 2021 because they just don't have the battery capacity to hit what they need to hit. And everybody else is sucking up all the capacity in the industry.
Oh my God. I didn't watch this far into this video yet.
You're suggesting that next year for Tesla, that they're going to have supply problems? That's the problem? Meaning there's going to be so much demand for this car and their problem is going to be supply?
No. I think the problem is demand and competition. I think Tesla's deliveries...
Well, no, but hold on. You just said... Just hear me out for a second, Gordon. Sure. You just said a moment ago, you said everybody else is sucking up the battery supply. They won't be able to have enough batteries. And so if they don't have enough batteries, that's a supply problem. That's not a demand problem.
Right. No. What I meant by that is they're not going to be able to expand their capacity. Listen, the reality is they were roughly 70% utilized if you look at their 2Q shipments versus what they said their capacity is. So they're not even selling out their current capacity, despite the fact that they're ramping a 500,000 car per year facility.
You know what's so funny? I totally forgot about these interviews in September 2020. Of course, actually, I think one of my first videos was a reaction to him on CNBC, but I've actually made that video private. So embarrassing on my end. But you just totally forget. And I'm so happy he posted this because, man, it's everything is reeking of the same milk right now.
In Germany and a multi-100,000 car facility in the U.S. There's not enough demand for their existing capacity. So the issue is not supply. They're not demand constrained or supply constrained. It's a demand problem, and it's competition next year that's really going to hurt them. The ID3, VW's ID3, which just launched in Netherlands, Norway, Spain last month, as of yesterday, has outsold the Model 3 in its first month. That's a big problem for Tesla.
It's a big problem for Tesla. A huge, huge problem for Tesla. Future-proofing Tesla a little bit. I think I smell a lot of it. A lot of money for Tesla in the future. Yikes, I didn't realize how disgustingly low the deliveries got for the ID3. The suspenders have to go, says Martin. Look, I'm actually a fan of the suspenders, and I don't think other people are fans of me wearing the suspenders, but I actually like the suspender look. I think it suits it, schoolboy style, private schoolboy, ivory tower-esque. Type of vibe. I don't think there's any trusting this. Well, it's funny because none of literally everything that he said was wrong, right? Everything that he said was wrong. And of course, it's okay to be wrong. But hold on. Who remembers Rob Maurer's debate with Gordon Johnson in 2020? Anyone remember that? Man, And it actually got some heat. Actually, 2 years ago, I suggested, hey, we should run this back. Who remembers that? It suspends his beliefs. Nice. That's good. That's a good one, actually. This is what I think about his suspenders.
This is one of the coolest things I've ever seen. It's amazing.
Thank you, Marco, for that soundbite. Yes, that was epic. Yeah, the Rob Maurer, Gordon Johnson debate. Rob was way too nice. Totally agreed. Totally agreed. Rob was so nice. Tesla, Daily, Gordon Johnson. Hold on. 3 years ago. Oh my God. Look at this.
But I think, BMW and GM prefer
oh my God.
8 weeks.
Okay, folks, just bear with me here. 3 years ago, September 3rd, 2020, this video was live streamed. I remember watching this, right? Live.
That doesn't work. You can't continue to grow your revenue.
The smile on Rob's face.
Vehicles.
Gordon's not listening to anything.
That should be a major consideration when we're talking about Q1 and Q2.
Right. There's an easy way to look at that. Every automaker was affected by the pandemic equally.
Differently.
Right? So
Differently.
you look to market share. So what I do is I look to market share. So what is Tesla's market share done? Fourth quarter of last year to today, right? Fourth quarter of last year in Europe, their market share was about 35.
This is almost unfair because Rob is too nice of a guy to come at Gordon the way that Gordon needs to be debated. And of course, when you're hosting it on your channel, there's a degree of just like hostfulness that you have to have, right? You can't be super contentious. But if this was a third part, I'll put this right now in the ether. I am happy to moderate a re-debate between Rob and Gordon. Again, throwing that out there. Maybe Farzad and Gordon. Maybe Farzad could come at Gordon a little bit harder than Rob would. Farzad, if you want to debate Gordon Johnson, I will be happy to moderate. And I will pick no sides and I'll be completely unbiased. That's my word. That's my word.
5%. Today, about 9%. So everybody was affected equally. Tesla is hemorrhaging market share. In the U.S., right? Their sales are declining.
Anyways, so good. So good. Folks, this is not new, okay? This is not new. This is September 3rd, 2020. But if you want to go whack down misery lane, go look at the chat. Actually, I think I see some people in this chat that I see in my chat all the time too. So good. So anyways, put him with SMR. Actually, maybe that's more even. Farzad, Gordon, SMR. Maybe Steve, Mark, and Ryan, actually. That's a good point, but yeah, actually, maybe. That's a good point, Roger. That's a good point. It'd be more fun to watch Farzad and Gordon in a cage match. Maybe says, I'll be the moderator. I'm not nice at all. I beg to differ. Okay. Good stuff, folks. Really good stuff. Now, recession. I talked about this macro. This video on YouTube posted yesterday on CNBC, a small clip about the recession and talking about UAW strikes in the beginning, got almost 150,000 views. It's got to be good. Let's take a listen.
Easing a bit from where it was, but still pretty close to its highest level since 2007. So I think that's really where we got to start here, Bryn. A lot of disruption ever since Jay Powell indicated higher for longer. Where do you go from here? And I think it's important to note the NASDAQ and the S&P also on a 3-week losing streak as well.
I think you actually have to go a little bit further because July 31st was really the peak in the S&P. And then all of a sudden the 2-year and the 10-year start moving up. And I think as soon as the 2-year got to 5 and the 10 years hit that 425, all of a sudden equities can't handle that. And so you're seeing really that digestion of higher for longer, which Jay Powell just reiterated. And so I think that ultimately this is going to be settled because typically stocks follow bonds, but right now bonds have been following stocks, and that all year long stocks have said no recession, soft landing, rates are going to cut next year, while bonds have been saying inversion, which means recession, 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 and now bonds are saying, hey, you know what, I think the stock market was right, and so you're getting that uninversion of the bond market. And to me, that's the whole story here, because you really have to re-rate what can multiples be, how high can the stock market go if we're going to continue to have multiples, rates be higher for longer.
This is the key of what she's saying. And if all that sounded like jargon to you, I will surmise it in the next 10 seconds. the 2-year yield, right, should be lower than the 10-year yield. Inversion is when the opposite happens and investors are pricing in more risk in the near term than the long term, aka pointing towards a recession. Now what we're seeing, of course, is kind of the inverse of the inverse, or coming back to a kind of normalcy. The problem is usually when that happens, there's pain ahead, because for it to re-rate that way, capital has to be reallocated in a way that disrupts stocks. Now, the bottom line is, I think everyone is super surprised to see how resilient GDP growth has been, how resilient the job market has been, and how, quite candidly, how resilient stocks have been. And so the question is, where do we go from here?
Wyatt, same question for you. I mean, what's next? We're about to enter Q4 next week. We've had a pretty strong start to the year, but a lot of disruption recently, also some big macro things and some U.S.-specific things like a possible government shutdown, other issues here in the U.S.
Yeah, so what's next is earnings season. And as opposed to the last year or so, expectations are higher. They're more optimistic. So now you've got to actually bridge that optimism with reality. I personally think there's a chance it falls short. Look, I think the market, I've been cautious in the market for a number of weeks, remain very cautious on it. I've trimmed exposure. Here's the issue. I do believe we go into recession. I don't believe there'll be a soft landing. I'm still amazed by some of the lunacy out there that as recently as a month or two ago, some strategists, some whatever money managers saying the Fed's going to start cutting rates.
Okay, I'm going to let him speak.
They're not going to cut rates. They're going to leave rates the way they are. So we've seen a delayed reaction to the massive tightening cycle that we've had. I don't think it gets any better. I think it gets worse. And there are a number of factors. Additionally, inflation is not really under control. Okay, we've had the easy move down from 9% to 3.5%, 4%, pick a number. But guess what? We're poised for it to go higher. Why? Because of energy, because of the UPS strike, because of the UAW strike, because the Inflation Reduction Act. We haven't even started to deploy capital. Wait till we start doing it. So you've got all the triggers for inflation going higher. So you cannot tolerate rates like that. We're a consumer-driven economy. 2/3 of the economy is driven by consumers. Now you see these cars rolling off leases. So I've had two. Fortunately, I can afford it. But the cost of leasing a car, the cost of buying a car has gone up 20 to 40%.
The reason why the costs of these cars have gone up, does anyone know the real reason for why the costs of these cars have stayed as high as they are? Anyone know in the chat? I'm talking legacy auto. And shout out to Yaman on Twitter for making a great clip about this. Has anyone watched that clip? I think it's super important to understand. I'll wait for a second for the chat. But does anyone know why these costs of these legacy auto cars have stayed as high as they are? Well, if it's demand, Bren, like we would think, okay, prices would come down because, I mean, there really is not much demand. What is it? Does anyone know? What's interesting is, and I'll give you a hint, it has to do a little bit with leases, right? A little bit with leases, but a lot with accounting, right? And I encourage you to go on his Twitter and find it. But it doesn't seem like anyone's getting it. So, whoops. Dealers margin, dealerships, repo, more dealers. So I guess it depends on how you guys are classifying dealerships. Interest rates, financing, dealerships maximize profits, interest rate. So actually it's a conjunction of what you're all saying. But the general story is this. If you are BMW and you have X millions of cars out for lease, the value of these cars have been astronomically dropping because of interest rates. But you can't have that happen. When you have that many cars out for lease, when the lease is up, you have to write off all of this money that you've just lost because now the value of this car is so little. That is billions of dollars of losses. So what they're doing instead is they're limiting production to keep the costs of their resale and new cars high so that when the lease is up, and there's millions of leases coming up, then they don't have to write off billions of dollars worth of losses. And so there's this artificial game that they're playing to keep prices of their cars high so they don't have to write off billions of dollars off of leases. But the issue with that is all you're doing is limiting production of your cars artificially and falling even more behind on the EV race. So you almost have this huge cyclical downward effect for legacy auto where they have to write off they can't write off billions of dollars of losses that would annihilate them. So they're having to do something they don't want to do, and is really plug up their nose and keep production limited and keep the price of their cars high to make sure that these leases don't come in as at huge losses. That is the real issue. And meanwhile, Tesla is doing quite the opposite. Tesla is driving down price and pressuring the market, and legacy auto is going, shit, can you stop doing that? Because all it's doing for us is making it even harder for us to keep the prices of the values of our cars high for when these leases are up. And Tesla's going, yeah, you know what? I'm going to keep driving down prices. And their legacy auto is looking at Tesla and going, you guys are ruining our balance sheets. And you're slowing us down to make more of these cars and make more money. Because obviously they have to sell more cars to make more money, right? Absolute wise, not relative wise. So you have this dance, this tango, this invisible tango going on where Tesla is continuing to crush and pushing out quantity at the expense of margin. And legacy auto is staring at Tesla and going, damn, every time you do that, we have to slow down production even more to make sure that our values stay the same. Exactly. They're painting themselves in a corner while selling more paint. Exactly. So I think Yamin on Twitter has a great video on this. Go watch it. Sorry, I got a little bit excited. Tesla, we told you we're going to do this. They did.
So where do consumers make choices? In addition, you've still seen, while rents may be coming down a little bit in some areas, basically they're still on the rise. So where do you take it from? You got to pay more for energy. Okay, it's not like you've seen grocery prices come down measurably. Good point. So it all adds to.
Okay, he just said something that I want to point out. He's talking about inflation still being high. And he said something that I want you to catch. If you ever catch yourself thinking like this, pause, slap yourself on the wrist. Bad. He just said, it's not like you've seen grocery prices come down. Folks, that's not lowering of inflation, aka disinflation. That's deflation. That's negative inflation. You're not going to see grocery prices come down. You're going to see the increases come down. It's the second derivative, right? So again, don't judge inflation at the grocery store by if prices have come down. No, judge them by, are they not going up as much as they used to go up every year? That is what you're actually measuring. Okay.
The pressure on the consumer that drives the economy. And guess who's going to pay for the UAW wage increases? You, Bryn, me, Rob. Maybe not Rob, because he's America's guest, so who knows? But in general, it comes to the consumer. That further takes wallet share.
So Weiss, to your point, as if we didn't get the message from Jay Powell, Boston Fed President Susan Collins saying today she feels that we need to keep rates higher for longer. She is a voting member this cycle. So I think you're right. The Fed is just trying to make it clear to the market. Whatever you thought was going to happen, we're trying to make it clear.
Right. So final word. Past is not prologue, okay? Just because the equity market has held these levels for the top line, lots of stocks have suffered, right? Doesn't mean that's going to continue to be the case. I believe it's a delayed reaction and the markets go lower. They definitely don't go higher and hit new highs.
Wow. So he says, they're definitely, this is Short Hill Capital, Steve Weiss. The markets definitely don't go higher from here. That's his big proclamation yesterday. And it's gotten a lot of views, a lot of interaction. I mean, for what it's worth, I don't actually disagree too much with his end thesis, which is that there's a recession coming and that rates will be higher for longer. Although I was big on the inflation is going to come down train, but it's been not sticky per se, but it's been a little bit more persistent. But again, I think the Fed could have stopped raising rates 1% ago and kept it for longer, and the effect would have been the same. Yeah. Marcus says, so that is why Volkswagen, Ford, and GM are slowing production of the EVs and shooting themselves in the foot long term. Exactly. But it's quite ironic because they have to do quite the opposite for that. Are we ready for a recession? This is the $1 million question, right? TRK, are we ready for a recession? Do you have cash reserves? Do you have you closed out high interest loans that you may have? What else for a recession? I mean, if you want to play the offensive, if you have cash reserves, you can deploy cash during recessionary times in ways that you get disproportionate returns in the 5 or 10 years, 15 years that follows, aka let's say real estate or something. But again, being cash heavy is important during recessions. Having padding, having safety margins, not playing on margin, by the way, at all, right? And again, limiting option purchasing during times where macro is still shaky. And yes, selling of options is different. You're collecting premium, but when you're buying time premium deep out the money, and it's just essentially all time premium, you get into this land of everything starts expiring on you and crushing. So try to play the opposite side during recessions. I mean, look, the only recession, of course, I've lived through 08 and 01, but let's be honest, it's not like I was, of any meaningful age to analyze those recessions. The 2020 recession, could you call it a recession? I guess, but the COVID recession was a second, it was like 3 seconds long. So, it's interesting times, but I do feel like a recession is due and it is coming, and albeit it is delayed. I thought it would have already shown signs by this year. I'm wrong, and it seems like it is next year. But yes, coming out of high interest loans, padding cash reserves, increasing income, big one, right? Everyone focuses on the expenses. And I'm not trying to play Dave Ramsey here, by the way, but everyone focuses on expenses and what can I cut? And of course, there's a degree of fat cutting that needs to be done. But remember, you can only cut expenses to zero, right? You can't go negative on your expenses, but you can go unlimited on your income. And that's what you should, I think, really, my humble opinion, really be focusing on is, how do we increase income? And again, during recessionary times, you might have to think differently. So yes. Alrighty. What a show, folks. Great show. I appreciate everyone tuning in for another Sunday Power Hour, Tesla Power Hour live stream. A lot we talked about. If you want to go back and watch any part of this, the first part, I talked about Tesla stock analysis, why I think it's settling here. Then we went into Tesla bot, huge news on that. I'll timestamp all this, by the way, if you're watching on replay. Also, Jim Cramer went through some reaction with Stephen Mark Ryan, did a whole reaction to AOC. Gordon Johnson on CNBC, walk down TSLAQ history lane, and then some recessionary macro talk at the end. I appreciate everyone tuning in for another weekly Sunday live stream. Quick programming note before you go. Next Sunday, as you guys know, I will be in we'll be in Paris. We'll be in France as of next Saturday, and then I think we're flying to Italy on Sunday. So depending on what time we're flying, I don't really know what's going to be happening. So put a pin into next week. I hope I can go live at some point because, what time is it? Okay, someone's got to know this in the chat, right? What time is it in France, Italy right now? Someone please do the math for me as I talk. Because if I can go live on my phone, I wonder if I can get data or Wi-Fi or something nearby and just do a quick live stream. Like, it doesn't have to be a big news thing, but I'd like to still stay connected with everyone because I just kind of stay sane that way. Let's be honest. The reason why I do this is mostly because of all the positive feedback I get, but of course, because I love doing it. It's 4:20. Okay. Plus 6 hours. So, hold on. 8 hours later. Well, 7:56 p.m. Okay. 7:56. Okay. So it's 8 p.m. So if I started, it'd be like 7 p.m. Okay. So maybe I can squeeze in a live stream. I can promise 8 hours ahead. Okay. So I can promise I will go live at some point. I cannot promise the exact time because I just don't know time zones or where I'll be at what point. But I think it'd be pretty epic if I went live from the Coliseum or something. And then I previewed Elon and Zuckerberg's fight or something. Anyways, so all I'm trying to say is, hit the like, hit the subscribe, but also hit the notification bell. And if you're not getting alerts and you have the notification bell selected on all, not unsubscribe, but hit none on the alerts and hit all again. You have to refresh it or something. It's a YouTube bug. All right. Much love. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I appreciate all of you guys' support. I appreciate all of the comments coming in. I'm looking at everything now. Much love. Thank you. And I appreciate it. And I'm excited. And got 4 days of work here. And then on Friday, I'll be flying out to Paris first. Paris first for a day, then to Italy, from Naples to Rome, then to Florence, and then back to Paris for 4 or 5 days. So excited for that. And again, first time in Europe. So I guess wish me luck. We'll take care. All right. Much love, everyone. Yash signing off. Peace out.